Hello beautiful people, my name is Antoinette and welcome to my channel Fit for Purpose. I'm helping women to grow and progress in life. In this video today we are talking about tips to reinvent yourself or change your life. A few people have asked me how I changed my life, so I'm sharing the details with you today. My journey started about 7 years ago when I hit rock bottom. I was in a place where I doubted myself and I constantly compared myself to other women and became unhappy with who I was. On top of that, I was unfit and a complete workaholic with no balance. I want to clarify, when I say I reinvented myself or transformed myself, the focus has never been on becoming someone else. For me, it was about enhancing my strengths and improving my development areas. The focus was on becoming the person God created me to be and walking in freedom and in purpose. This has been a 7-year journey of trial and error for me, but it does not have to take you 7 years. I went through this journey of changing my life and reinventing myself, and now I want to help you to change yours. So here are my tips to change your life. Tip number 1 is to raise your standard. When you are comfortable, you don't feel the need to change your life. If you are satisfied with your lifestyle, how you look, your energy levels, your skill level, the type of life you are building or what you're working towards, then you will continue doing the same thing for the next 2, 5 or 10 years. I had to change how I looked at myself and start seeing myself through the eyes of God. It was about being a good steward of my body, having a godly mindset, utilizing and optimizing my gifts and talents, and building a life according to God's plan. I had to stop believing the enemy's lies that I was not good enough and start believing that I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I wanted to dress better, be confident in who I am, and have a well-balanced life. But I first had to realize that I wanted to improve my life. I wanted to become the person God created me to be. I didn't want to have the same boring, ineffective life and be stuck dealing with the same destructive behaviors for the next 10 or 20 years. I didn't want to chase things that didn't matter. The truth is, if you actively decide to raise your standard, you will feel uncomfortable at first because you know you want more and you are not where you want to be. But you will feel compelled to change something in your life, to move closer to the person you want to become or who God created you to be. Being uncomfortable is a good thing because it pushes us to become better. After I leveled up my style and became fit, I started to build an online business while working full-time. Without the uncomfortability, you might stay a couch potato. So the first step is to raise your standard. Who did God create you to be? What do you want to achieve? How can you become the best version of yourself? Tip number 2 is to create a vision board. A vision board is extremely powerful and people underestimate it. Our minds are very preoccupied, and when you walk away from this video, you will focus on what you still need to do today and forget all about the changes you want to make. Therefore, it is critical for you to be reminded of why you want to change and how you're going to do it. This is why you need to create a vision board. Visualizing your goals regularly encourages you to stay the course, helps your mind form neural pathways, and keeps your goal front of mind. I created a vision board template to make it easy for you. It has space to write down your goals and contains inspirational quotes and scriptures. It is also very adaptable, which means you can leave out what you want and you can duplicate certain focus areas. I will also add this link in the description below for you. Otherwise, you can create your own vision board. You don't need much to do it. Keep it simple and to the point. Some people use pictures and colors, others use facts, figures, and dates. Just make sure that your vision is on your board and the goals you have set for yourself. Also, remember, this is not to make you feel guilty if you missed a goal, but to remind you of what you're working towards, especially when you are feeling demotivated. You can also add your progress to your board so you can see what you are achieving. Make sure that your vision board looks appealing to you. I personally like to have certain goals more prominent and let them pop off the board when I walk past. I also like to link my goals with Bible verses to keep me motivated because it reminds me of God's promises for my life. Also, once I have achieved a goal, I take it off my board, but I still keep the piece of card I wrote it on. It is sometimes a good reminder for me just to look at the things I have achieved so far as a form of encouragement. Tip 3 is to learn a new skill. When you're growing or moving forward in life, you will have to learn new skills. When I decided to become an entrepreneur, I had to learn how to build an online course, record and edit videos, build a website, and so much more. On the personal side, I wanted to learn how to dress better and also learn the skill of doing my hair and makeup. If you're going to grow in your career, for example, you might need to develop leadership skills or the skill of communication. Or maybe you want to know how to work better with your finances or how to build a business from scratch. The point is, you need to identify the skills that will help you achieve your goals and find ways to learn them. When you learn the new skill, you need to gain knowledge and also experience. I watched hours of YouTube videos and read many blogs to gain knowledge. When it was necessary and I could afford it, I invested in online courses or bought books. Once you have acquired the knowledge, you need to practice. Knowledge is one piece of learning a new skill, but then you have to develop the skill by practicing it. In the beginning, it will be frustrating because you might struggle, but the more you do it, the quicker you will become. Some skills will take a few months to practice, others will take years. I'm still learning things about video editing, scripting, recording, and lighting. But I'm much quicker and more effective now than when I started and knew very little. If you want to change your life, you must practice the skills you need to learn. Tip number 4 is to learn from others. Think about it this way. As human beings, we progress in life because we pass on knowledge. Someone studying to become a doctor does not have to start by figuring out how the human body works from scratch. They go to university and learn from thousands of people who have explored the human body for thousands of years. A young doctor will observe how a more senior doctor performs surgeries and learn from them. They don't need to start from scratch. Therefore, learning from others is an effective way to change your life. It is still essential to get the knowledge, but it is much easier to learn a skill from someone else. You can observe how someone who has already mastered this craft is applying that specific skill and how it looks. So I advise you to find people in your life who are already where you want to be and then learn from them. Watch what they do. Watch how they spend their time and resources. On what are they focusing? What topics are they discussing? Another benefit of learning from someone else is that you can actually learn from their mistakes. You do not have to make the same mistakes they did. If I meet someone fitter and healthier than me, I usually ask them many questions. I want to know what led to their success and what I can do differently and better in my life to achieve my goals. If you don't know someone, don't worry. Many people on YouTube share their journeys, mistakes they've made, and lessons they've learned. This is also why I love autobiographies. I can learn lessons from someone else's life in a week that took them a lifetime to learn. If you want to learn from my journey and past mistakes, remember to subscribe because I have so much more I want to share with you. Tip number 5 is to make sure your habits and routines fit your new desired outcomes. For example, if you want to become healthier, this will mean you need to have a routine that incorporates regular exercise throughout the week. It doesn't help that you want to change, but you do things the same way. My morning routine includes spending time with God, which includes reading the Bible and praying, and then fitting in a training session afterwards. In the evenings, I have a routine of cleaning the house before I go to bed and a skincare routine to ensure I look after my skin. What should your routine and habits look like to reach your goals? Check out my video, How to Start a Healthy Lifestyle, and the secret tool I share that helps you implement change. You can use this tool for any transformation, not just starting a healthy lifestyle. Once you have determined your new routines and habits, you must be consistent. Consistency over time produces excellent results. Tip number 6 is to be resourceful. It is nice to have all the resources to start changing your life, such as endless time and endless amounts of money. However, most of the time people are not privileged to be in a situation like that. Most of the time people are on a tight budget and working full time. They might even have multiple jobs and families to look after. But that should not stop you from making changes to move forward in life. Being resourceful means you work with what you have. It is nice to afford a gym membership or online training program, but you don't need a gym membership to get fit or in shape. If you are desperate to change your life, you need to get resourceful with what you have. At one stage, I bought a jump rope for 80 Rand. When I started, I could hardly jump rope for 5 minutes. But after a few months, I could easily do an hour-and-a-half session. When I traveled for work to other African countries, I would pack that skipping rope into my bag. And if there weren't a gym or any facilities available at the hotel, I would skip rope for an hour to an hour-and-a-half in my hotel room. It wasn't fun, sometimes it was hard, sometimes my motivation was really not high. But I didn't use an excuse like, I don't have access to training equipment to stop me from reaching my goals. As I mentioned previously, most of the knowledge I have acquired over the years have come from platforms like YouTube. If you don't have access to free internet, instead of using your data for things like Facebook and Instagram, invest that data and time in YouTube videos where you can learn something or listen to podcasts. When I had to build my website, I spent most of my time watching videos to figure out how to do it because I could not afford someone to build a website for me. I'm a psychologist. I knew nothing about building a website and everything that entails starting a blog and recording and editing videos. It was entirely new for me and I had to learn from others and build that skill to get the business off the ground. So do not wait for resources before you start. Work with what you have. Tip number 7 is to test small and roll out big. This is one of the most important principles I have ever learned. If you want to implement something new in your life, you first want to test it to see if it works before you invest time, effort, and resources. For example, you must learn how to start a website. If you need a hosting site for your website, it might be cheaper per month. If you opt for a full year subscription, then a month-to-month subscription. However, it might not be wise to go for a full year subscription if you are unsure how the hosting site works, if you can work with it or if it will address your needs. You first need to test it before you subscribe. Some programs have a 2-week or a 1-month free trial period. If this is the case, ensure that you test everything within a free trial period. If there's no free trial period, do a monthly subscription in the beginning. You can then test it, and if it is not suitable, you can immediately cancel the subscription. Or if it works, you can then buy an annual subscription to save money. If I do a monthly subscription, I will put the date in my diary before the subscription relapses, in case I want to cancel it. If you don't test small, you risk buying subscriptions and tools you might not need and waste your time and resources. I even do the same with makeup. If I want to learn a new technique or style, I will buy cheap makeup and experiment with it. I don't feel guilty for putting on the makeup and wiping it off if I made a mess and starting all over again. If I see that the new style suits me, I will invest money in more expensive makeup if needed. Otherwise, I'll just stay with the cheap makeup if it works. Tip number 8 is to be willing to make mistakes. When you are in the process of learning a new skill, you are going to make mistakes. That's just part of life. But the important thing is how you handle these mistakes. It might be embarrassing or unprofessional, but you must make the most of it. The fact of the matter is, I had to embrace my mistakes and sometimes had to laugh at myself. Mistakes will happen, so make the most of them and don't allow them to slow you down or dampen your confidence. Tip number 9 is to make drastic changes. This sounds slightly contradicting compared to testing small and rolling out big. However, sometimes you need to make drastic changes to improve your life. For example, when someone wants to start living healthy, one of the first things I recommend is to get rid of all the unhealthy food in the house. Normally, when I go to a client's house, I will take a plastic bag and ask them to put all the unhealthy food in the bag right there and then. One of my clients went grocery shopping the day before, so there was a lovely cake in her house along with cookies, chips and takeaways from the night before. I made her put everything in the bag and give it to someone else that needed it. She was pretty upset with me because it cost her a lot of money. But if you want to live healthily and have unhealthy food in your house, one of two things will happen. Either the food will go to waste or you will end up eating it, which is counterproductive to the goal you are trying to achieve. You're just going to keep on with the same old habits. So sometimes it's necessary to make drastic changes. Tip number 10 is to be patient. This is one of the most important tips. You need to be patient with the process, and you need to be patient with yourself. Some skills you might need to level up your life will take time. Also, building a business will not happen overnight. I started my business 3 years ago and I'm still figuring it out and trying to upskill myself. Keep on trying and do not give up. For a righteous man falls 7 times and rises again. Do not go back to that comfortable space that you were before you started. Just keep on pushing, because 12 months from now, you will be much further than where you are now. It is about making progress. The final tip I want to share with you is to get up and move. You need to start getting busy and get the ball rolling. Do not wait for the ideal circumstances. Define what you need to do to reach your new standard and just start. One of the biggest mistakes I've made is to plan for months, rather than just starting somewhere. You might need to change your routine, start getting up earlier, or enroll in a class. Working towards your new standard will require action from your side. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Hit the subscribe button and ensure the notifications are on if you want to be notified when I upload a new video. If you want to learn more about taking control of your eating habits and making lasting changes to your life, head on over to my website, AntoinetteFerreira.com, and enroll in my flagship course, Change Your Mindset, Change Your Lifestyle.